talk about the history of Jerusalem. It had to talk about the pilgrims going through the city. It had to talk about the eye patients going through the hospital. And yet it couldn't be overtly political. It couldn't be too religious. Therefore, when you get the whole thing, whack it in a bucket and shake it about, and look at it, you think, this is practically impossible to ask. There's absolutely nothing like walking through the old city of Jerusalem early in the morning to have a bright idea. And that's what I'm going to do now. It's just mind-blowing, touching history, and ruggedness, and age. It's just fantastic. Then people of all races mingling in together. What nationality are you?
I speak English little bit.
Are you Muslim?
My father is Muslim. Mother is a Christian.
And you?
Half to half.
It's just an incredible city, even to consider making some sculpture. Beautiful domes, beautiful shapes. Everywhere there's beauty. Down beyond where I sit, you've got the Mount of Olives and the Garden of Gethsemane just there. It's jaw-dropping. The penny just began to drop that actually the one thing that to me symbolizes Jerusalem, that can be 2,000 years old or more, are these olive trees. So I could see the olive tree being that central core to the sculpture, but there's not really anything dynamic or moving in it. But then, when you look down onto the western wall and see the swifts just buzzing around, that western wall is one of the key breeding grounds for the common swift. They nest in these little holes. Looking down, another penny began to drop. That the swift is something extraordinarily dynamic. And it's migratory. In February, or early spring, the Jews have a welcoming ceremony for the swift. Because the swift is coming back. Life is coming back into the wall. And most particularly, it's a bird of hope. That's why they welcome it back. It's the coming of spring or summer. It's a bird of extreme hope. And hope is something which you can see here is sorely lacking. Those two things, the tree and the swift, I think sum up so precisely what my mission is all about. I've now just got to make it. Now, where's that tree? Next to these olive trees, staring out over that olive grove, seeing the wall, makes one, it's just such odd combination of complete magic and complete horror. This olive grove, which has been around through the time of Christ, that certainly is not something that he would ever have wanted, and yet it's here. She is my tree, I know it. I've fallen in love. Definitely. It's a typical olive tree, but it's got this beauty, slightly pinched waist. There's a prettiness to it. I just love the way the canopy isn't completely dominating the tree, and you've got light, a view going up through it. I think it's going to work with the swifts incredibly well. It's a most exciting tree. It's going to be very tricky indeed. But we like a challenge, particularly when that challenge involves a certain amount of technical risk. Aim is to get this bird finished while I'm here in Jerusalem, because I need to give it to my new friend Yossi, who runs a foundry in Israel, near Caesarea, because he is then going to mold it and cast it. Haha, what a dream. But it's funny, because sometimes you have these dreams and you know in your tummy that it's a dream worth dreaming.
If you feel that you want to have a little more, I'll be there.
We want to keep it as close to this tree as possible because
It's a holy tree.
It's exactly there we go. Notice entirely.
Anyway, you're gonna get the basic shape. They're gonna brush it tomorrow.
Yep.
Hopefully they'll finish with the rubber tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Tuesday they're gonna come and start the plaster.
Plaster on the nuggets, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's easy. Yeah. I'm just wondering how these boys from the foundry are going to mould it. But they're just going to have to manage.
I remember. I can hug.
The world is beautiful when you have crazy people like him. That's the only reason I'm staying in that business.
Good. Well, therefore you and I are going to have to team up for a long time yet.
Everything we see here in wax is going to be bronze. And this is really extremely good wax. Very, very well produced. This is where the olive tree really counts as a symbol of the history of Jerusalem. The cracks, the faults, the fissures, the damage that's been done to Jerusalem is symbolized in the gnarled look of this olive tree. And yet the new branches are still growing. And this is where the hope is symbolized. Hope for the future, which ultimately will spring to life with the dynamics of the birds as they fly around, swooping, turning swifts, symbolizing the hope of Jerusalem's future.
It's going to be beautiful. I'm making this bit of sculpture for the Order of St. John, for the Eye Hospital here in Jerusalem. It's a sculpture about the history of Jerusalem, about people, movement of pilgrims, movement of eye patients. So I want to go and find out exactly who these eye patients are. So I'm going to go with Coreth and his team to one of the outreaches. It'll be a fascinating day.
Now when we examined her vision is poor, and the lens inside the eye is just dislocated from its original side. In these cases, we do something is called lensectomy. We remove the lens from the eye.
Sad when this could have been caught earlier, but at least she's caught now.
All that I've seen today makes me realize the value of the message that my sculpture is trying to put across. The very fact that we're talking about the movement of people, and yet these people can't move. My sculpture is talking about hope. Hope that at some point the situation will change and these people will be freer and able to move. At the moment, they're really in a sort of prison. It's very sad, and it's appalling for their health. I now see the way Palestinians are restricted, and the stress that they're under. They don't have the ability to move the way that my swifts do. If only they had.
The other ones are too long.
What are we going to do with the leftovers?
We use them on the next tree.
Okay,
Keep
I'll
them.
sign you.
That's it. I have my tree of life, tree of hope. It's finished. And I'm really, really chuffed.
I haven't quite got a swift's eye view, but it's nice to see Jerusalem from above. My little tree is down there somewhere. This universal message of hope. And I feel this isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. And this message of hope will spread its wings across the world. It reminds me of a verse. The mountain swift cuts across the veils of time, enters our dimensions now, and then to take our breath away.